Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a pretty cool first impressions video for you. First of all, check out the packaging on this knife. It is this really great hard case. And then if we take a look here, we've got the Voodoo blade finish and blade details, I guess, S90V, satin flats, orange peel, titanium. And so let's go ahead and pop this open. I have to say, this knife is a pretty big surprise to me and a very welcomed one. This is the Freeman Knives Voodoo, built by Tuya Knives. You can see actually Tuya's logo over here. You can see the S90V right there. And look at the orange peel finish on this titanium handle. And then check out this blade. That is just fantastic. Man, I love that blade. Okay. The other thing I want you to see is take a look inside. I do have a light, but I think it's going to be too bright. There we go. Maybe. There you go. You can see the internal milling there. So let's do a quick rundown on functions and features. Up front here, we have this really, really nice looking, very aggressive hollow grind Warncliffe blade on S90V. Very substantial finger choil here. It is a titanium frame lock, milled pocket clip, cage ceramic bearings, and the action on this is just exceptional. Oh, such a satisfying knife. If you're someone who likes the Spidey flick, you are going to love this. And on the other hand, if you are not a guy who Spidey flicks, like the original owner of this knife, it's probably not going to be your cup of tea. But for me, who really enjoys the Spidey flick, this works really, really well. Now, I have to say, the big surprise on this knife, and the thing that really stands out to me the most, is just the feel in hand. This is actually a much bigger knife than it looks like, right? So you can see, even with my fairly large hands, I get a full 4-finger grip on here. The deployment hole is a very large, substantial hole, which actually makes it quite comfortable. Either your thumb or the index finger, or sorry, the Spidey flick. I don't know if I can do an index finger flick. I think maybe, yeah, I can. I've been messing around with this left-handed, and I'm not so good with my left hand, but I can certainly do the slow roll. Well, I got my left hand in here. The watch today is the Inox. Now that I've gotten this in front of you, I just want to point out that this is bigger than, again, it looks. I've got the Wee Curvaceous here. Just happens to be the knife that was in my pocket today. So the Wee Curvaceous is 8.5 inches, and you can see this is just a little bit smaller than that. What else have I got that's nearby? That's probably going to be, yeah. That'll be our closest comparison. So what do I think about this knife? First impressions. First of all, let me point out a couple of design features here. The orange peel finish on this titanium is really, really attractive. The blade grind is exceptionally well done. It's crazy thin behind the edge with this super aggressive hollow grind, which I absolutely love. And it's much bigger than it looks. Now, probably the thing that would put some people off from this knife would be the amount of cutting edge per size of the knife. Frankly, that doesn't bother me in this case, just because, one, it seems to suit the design pretty well, and two, the main thing that bothers me about smaller knives is not the cutting edge. I mean, to a degree, it's the cutting edge, but it's mostly the feel in hand. So this has really, really great feel in hand. The other thing is the blade. Let's pick up on a couple little details before that really stood out to me. The nice little chamfer here on the blade, as well as the spidey hole, the dual directional satin grind is phenomenal. And the very clean look of this before we flip it over, even on the lock side, you can see the Freeman Knives logo here, which is great in the relief cut. You can see the Tuya symbol there on the blade, but even on this side, it's very clean. This really has the look of almost a custom knife. And I'm sure that, well, and part of that is the orange peel finish that we rarely ever see on a production knife. The action on this is very enjoyable. I haven't had it long enough to say too much other than, I've already, flicked it open probably 10,000 times just because it just is asking you to do that. All right, let me grab a couple of measurements here um, so you can know how big this is in actuality. Since I've mentioned that it's bigger than you think, let me just show you. So we've got a full 8 inches. In fact, it looks to be even a little bit over 8 inches, maybe 8 1/8 or so. The cutting edge now you can see here is only not quite 2 3/4 inches. The blade length is about 3 3/8. And then the closed length on this guy is going to come in at 4 3/4 with a grip area that's not super huge, 3 inches, and I find my index or my pinky finger kind of lands back here, but it's thick enough here that it's actually still pretty comfortable for me. So let me just show you if I take a full forefinger grip and sort of a hammer grip, saber grip pushes you back a little bit more. And then if you choke up, the nice thing is this really lends itself to this choked up position with a nice full spine going all the way forward. All right, what about the weight? Let's grab that. We've got this weird scale that for some reason the screen barely shows up for you guys. I think you can probably see there though, it is 4.97 ounces. And so what I would say about this, the big thing that stands out to me about this knife is this is not a knife that I should like because it's a little on the small side. It doesn't have a ton of blade length. It's kind of falling into that utility. I don't know. It's just a bit of a strange knife. The numbers don't necessarily work. It's kind of heavy for its size at a little just around 8 inches and this very short cutting edge. But somehow the total package is really, really enjoyable. And so I have to say, I took this as a trade, and I wanted it for the channel more than anything. I thought this would be a cool knife to make some videos about because it's to my knowledge it's the first production partnership for Freeman Knives. If you recall, I had a knife from Freeman Knives years ago when I was just starting the channel. It was such a cool knife. Anyway. To my knowledge, this is the first sort of production partnership. He usually does sort of mid-tech stuff. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to check it out. 2, just look at it. It's really a great looking knife. And 3, I've seen on video that this knife looks like a small knife, but it's actually quite substantial. And that was the last thing. And oh, you know what? I want to show you guys one more thing before I go because this is very, very hand feeling. So we've got this big backspacer here, but I do want to show you, better turn it around to the right side of the ruler. I do want to show you with that contoured titanium, it's a full 1/2 inch thick plus a little more when you get down here. It's more like 5/8 plus. Yeah, more like 11/16 by the time you get down here where the clip is attached. So really cool, really dramatic knife. I have to say, I could sit there and look at that blade for a long, long time. That really does it for me. Really interesting knife, guys. I have to say, my first impressions are very, very positive. This is a really cool knife. They haven't, I don't know, they haven't seem to have gotten a lot of love. So if you're not familiar with this, I would look it up and think about checking one out. Or if you have an opportunity to get your hands on one, I think it's going to be surprising for those of you who would go, that's not for me. get it in hand and give it a try. You might be surprised. That's certainly been my experience, and that's my first impression. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.